My name is Lourdes Brown, and I'm reading the article Temporary Protected Status in Crisis by Mindy Daynes. In 1990, Congress created Temporary Protected Status, TPS, as a lifeline for people who could not safely return home. TPS protects people from countries facing war, natural disasters, serious instability, or other temporary emergencies. Unlike asylum, which is decided on a case by case basis and can take years to obtain, TPS allows the government to respond quickly and to cover many people at once. TPS gives people from designated countries temporary protection from deportation and permission to work in the United States. It is a practical and humane program. It keeps families together, allows people to support themselves, and recognizes that returning people to dangerous conditions can put lives at risk. Since 2002, the Secretary of Homeland Security, in consultation with government agencies, can designate countries. TPS designation usually lasts 6, 12, or 18 months. Before they expire, the government reviews conditions in the country and decides whether to extend or end TPS. If TPS ends, a person's status generally returns to whatever immigration status they had before TPS, if that status is still valid. Although TPS is meant to be temporary, some designations have lasted for decades because the dangers have not gone away. Haiti and Syria, for example, have had TPS for more than 14 years. During that time, TPS holders have built lives in the United States. They have raised children, opened businesses, paid taxes, and strengthened their communities. For those people without another path to legal status, losing TPS is a threat to their safety, families, and futures. There were nearly 1.3 million TPS holders in the United States as of March of 2025. Since returning to office, the Trump administration has sought to end protections for nearly all TPS recipients, including more than 600,000 Venezuelans and 348,000 Haitians. These are not abstract numbers. They are parents, workers, neighbors, caregivers, students, and business owners whose lives could be upended overnight. Shortly before the end of the Biden administration, Secretary Mayorkas extended TPS for Venezuela through October 2nd, 2026. After President Trump returned to office, his administration moved quickly to undo that extension. Haiti's TPS had also been extended through February 3rd of 2026, but on June 27th of 2025, the Trump administration announced it would end TPS for Haiti. No prior administration had claimed the power to rescind an existing TPS designation, making these actions a sharp break from past practice. Secretary Noem's decision to remove Venezuela TPS relied on President Trump's January 2025 executive order entitled Protecting the American People Against Invasion, rather than a careful analysis of conditions in Venezuela. For Haiti, Secretary Noem said that conditions had improved enough for people to return. But reporting showed that this conflicted with State Department warnings and well documented violence, insecurity, and socioeconomic collapse in Haiti. TPS, under these circumstances, ignores the reality on the ground and puts people in danger. The early termination of TPS led to several lawsuits. In February of 2025, a case was filed in California challenging the decision to end the Venezuela extension. The lawsuit argued that the decision was discriminatory and unlawful. A district court paused the termination, and the Ninth Circuit agreed. However, the Supreme Court allowed the government to end TPS for Venezuela while the case continued. On September 5th, 2025, the California District Court ruled for Venezuelan TPS holders. The federal government asked the Ninth Circuit to pause the ruling, but the court refused. The government then went back to the Supreme Court, which again sided with the Trump administration. As a result, TPS remained terminated. In January of 2026, the Ninth Circuit affirmed the lower court's final ruling and found that the government had not followed the procedures Congress created. Still, the Supreme Court's order remains in effect unless and until the court decides otherwise. Despite this, a small group of Venezuelan TPS holders may keep TPS through October 2nd of 2026. This includes people who received work permits or TPS approval notices on or before February 5th of 2025, with an expiration date of October 2nd, 2026. Advocates also challenged the termination of Haiti TPS in California, New York, and Washington, D.C. The D.C. court blocked the termination, and the appeals court agreed. But on June 25th, 2026, the Supreme Court sided with the Trump administration and held that the law creating the TPS program allows no judicial review of any determination with respect to termination of a TPS designation. The court held that the TPS law does not allow courts to review both the individual decision or the chain of events leading up to that decision. In simple terms, even if the Department of Homeland Security breaks the law when ending TPS for a country, no one can sue the government and get the court rather to intervene. The people who brought the case also argued that ending TPS for Haiti violated the Constitution because it was motivated by racist statements about Haitians. The court rejected this argument, saying it would fail. The end of TPS for Haitians and Syrians means that many people will lose protection from deportation. The decision may also affect TPS holders from other countries. Anyone affected should speak with an immigration attorney as soon as possible about other options, such as asylum or certain visas, including U visas for victims of qualifying crimes. Families should also make a preparedness plan now before an emergency forces them to act under pressure. Congress still has the power to act. A bill pending in the Senate would extend TPS for more than 300,000 Haitians for 3 years. It has already passed the House with bipartisan support. Citizens should call their senators and urge them to support the bill, bring it to a vote, and protect families who have lived, worked, and contributed to this country for years. Now is also the time to demand action to extend TPS for Venezuela. This is incredibly critical since the devastation caused by the recent earthquake. The Supreme Court decision leaves hundreds of thousands of people with very limited options. Now is the time to act, to seek legal advice, to call elected officials, and to make a plan to keep you and your family as safe as possible.